Hello, welcome back to Open Heat Loss and the instruction videos that I'm putting together to take you through how to put in a project on openheatloss.com. So this is video number 2. We're right at the start, having just done an introductory video for you on the overall background of the app. And now we're just going to get into inputting project info. So assuming that you're coming just to openheatloss.com, never been here before, this is the screen that you're going to see. And at the top, you can see the header there that says you're working anonymously. Now, you can put in and complete an entire project without actually saving and without actually registering at all. But it takes a lot of work and it takes a lot of time to really do a project properly. So if there's a risk, for example, that you're going to close down your browser and it's going to end up doing a refresh of your data, or that you're going to want to go away for a while, get some more information and so forth and come back, I do really recommend that you register, and then your project will persist in a proper database, not just locally on your browser. So that's just my little recommendation. But if you just want to play around with it, no registration is required at all. It has all the functions in there, apart from a few little bits that you'll find down here at the materials end and so forth. So there are some minor limitations that were too difficult to implement just on a client browser basis. So if you hit some limitations, then again, go back to register. All it needs is your name and an email address. So on that note, let's just go through where we're at. Now, if you've never done a project before, what I do recommend you do is you click on here and do the launch survey form. Now, what this does is that this gives you a full-blown checklist on a survey of a house to give you all of the background information that you need to be able to actually complete a heat loss and system design. And this is just a standalone HTML file. You can input this, but if you're not familiar, but also if you are familiar, I use this heat loss checklist myself because it helps to make sure that whenever I go and do a site survey, I know I've actually covered all the information I need. And like sometimes when you're deep in conversation with a customer, you can forget a couple of details. You drive off and then you go, oh no, I need this bit of information. So this is a really, really handy thing to help you to collect the data that you need. So assuming that you got everything here, the start here is that you got project name, designer, status and brief notes. Now, this overall tool, I've developed this for multiple projects so that I run all of my projects that are MCS and bus grant types of projects, design projects, through this app. And this is why I developed this app, is that I had an in-house tool I had full control of. Now, that gives me the ability to put project names, design engineers and notes and stuff. And I can also manage here the different status of each of those projects. Now, if you're in here only to do a single project, you just don't need to worry about this. Just ignore it for now. You can put a little project name in there if you want to. Otherwise, it just doesn't matter. It's for the tool that is going to be launched soon, which is a multi-project tool, which is predominantly for heating engineers doing repeated jobs. Now, similarly, customer information, contact details, client contact address is exactly the same thing. It's for one of those when you're managing customers. So it's helping to provide the basis of a CRM system. If you're doing one project, again, you just don't need this. But if you want to put it in, you can put it in because it just gives you the ability to put in your contact details for a customer and also the contact address for that customer. But the important bit to do when you're starting off a project is the installation address. Now, again, on one project, you don't have to put in all of the address details. All you want to be able to do is put in the first part of the postcode. And as you can see, I've typed this in and it's brought me up the appropriate design outdoor temperature. And this lookup is based upon the MCS database lookup to provide the necessary design temperatures that you are going to need. So I'm just resetting my view. So there we go. So BS1, for example, for this one, saying that they're in Bristol somewhere, I guess. And then, so next we have here, we have the bus grant information. Again, it's when you're working professionally and you're doing bus grant, this gives you the ability to put in the various stages of your bus grant application and to approve. So what you would normally do as a heating engineer, if you're putting in doing projects, is you make an application for a bus grant, and it's only once that that is approved do you really go ahead with doing any work, because then you know that you're going to be able to redeem that the bus grant at the end of the job. So it's important if you're doing this kind of work, and you can obviously put in the grant amount, voucher reference number, so that when you go back to redeem it, you've got all the details there. And once you get an approval on your application, you get a voucher expiry date, so you can put that in there. And on a multi-project basis, this gives a time, basically a countdown towards that end date to make sure that the project has actually been completed or is getting completed in the timeline for that voucher. But again, if you're doing this anonymously or just for one project, you really don't need to worry about it. You can just leave it all completely untouched. It doesn't matter for the completion of the project. Now, what does happen here is that based upon your design temperature, we then end up with design parameters. So it's given the external design temperature, and that is absolutely essential that you have your external design temperature set in the project, because otherwise none of the calculations will work. So really important that you just double check that that's in there. And then what you also have to do is you have to put in your climate region for where you are at. So it doesn't have an automatic lookup at the moment. You just have to select it yourself and so on. So just go down and select the kind of area or region that is closest to where you're at. Otherwise, it just defaults to the mean UK average outdoor temperature. So that's just something that you need to have in there, and you just need to make sure that you are your setting for your project, because again, that is used in calculations all throughout the openheatloss.com. So double check that's in there. I'm going to leave it at UK, sort of mean UK average right now, and we'll move on to the next bit. So next is ventilation and air permeability. And there are some notes here that will explain to you about the implementation of BSEN 12831-1/2017 and the Domestic Heating Design Guide 2026, which is a reduced method. It doesn't implement the full BSEN method, but it's good enough for 90% of the buildings. Okay, so this just gives you some of the basis for calculations if you want to know a little bit more about it. And the only real part of it is that, as you can see here, properties with whole house unbalanced mechanical extract ventilation are outside the scope of this method, simply because of their way they work. that isn't covered. So if that is your house and that's the kind of ventilation system you've got, then this will not do the correct calculations for you. But if you have got extract vents in your kitchens and your bathrooms and whatever, that's absolutely fine. It will work absolutely fine with this. This is just one of those whole house systems that usually you get something that's put up in the loft, and it's a big unit. So if you've got it, you should know that you have it. So the next step here is really the air permeability. So what that does is it really calculates or estimates the leakage rate that you get from your house. And if you are in a house that's you're doing a retrofit, or the house has been built for some time, you're not going to have door blower test or a pulse test. Now, those are tests that are used in new houses, and also some deep retrofit houses will use that test at the end to ensure that it complies with the specifications. But that's normally a retrofit that is at a very, very high level of insulation. So if you're in an older house that's been around for a while, and you don't know of any door tests or pulse tests, and you don't know whether there's anything on your EPC certificate that tells you this is the way to go. So all you need to do is put in primary construction. If it's masonry, timber or steel frame, hopefully you'll know which one that is appropriate for you. If it's half and half, just go for the dominant one and choose that. You've then got to just select what your ground floor type is, whether it's solid or it's suspended wooden floors, and also whether the suspended wooden floors had some upgrades and has been sealed up. And then on top of that, we want to know in this, for all of the calculations, is how well draft proofed everything has been. So if you've got draft proofing strips going in everywhere, and you've gone through the house and done that, or had somebody in there, you will just have to put the approximate level of draft proofing that you've put into the house, because that also goes into the calculation to calculate sort of infiltration of air. So basically, how much draft are you getting in the house? So finally, draft lobby at main entrance. So that is that if you have a big porch that is equal to or greater than 2 square meters, so quite big, and so that you can shut one door before going through the other. That's the only settings there. And then below here, what these will do basically is they will give you an effective Q50, which is an infiltration rate. That's the initial one, but then what you have to do down here is on building characteristics, you're going to put in the building shielding. So you're going to choose an option here, intensive shielding. So, you know, is your building in a city centre? Is it really well shielded from wind? Is basically what you're looking for here. Normal shielding, suburban environments, or, you know, is it out in the countryside with absolutely no shielding at all? And if you see, I'll select no shielding, and then you'll see that what's happened here is my value that I've put down here has changed. Yeah, so this adapts the amount of estimated infiltration on the air permeability. Now that's the estimated one. So, and then obviously final one, you need to put in the number of stories of the house as well. So that's your estimated side to it. Now, if you have a new build and you have got a test, then you can put that value straight into this box here. Now, some people, you know, you might have an EPC that has that on it as well if you don't know it, or if you're in the middle of a self build, you can just put it in. You will have a SAP calculation that will have a design air permeability, and you can use that figure to put into here to at least give you some initial basis of calculation, which you then replace with an actual test result later on in the build. So that is basically your project info. So just make sure that that's all filled in. That's the basis of your project. And next, what we will do is we'll go to the next stage here, which is MCS 031, which is the performance estimator. And I will go through the details that you will be putting in there for your project too. So I hope that was helpful. If you have any questions, comments, please do put them in below the video. And other than that, if you want to, please do register to follow for any further videos. And thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Thank you very much.